あなたは目の前の嫌な現実をあまりにも真面目に、あまりにも正直に見つめすぎてしまっています。病を治したいと願いながら病を憂い、貧しさから抜け出したいと願いながら懐の寂しさを嘆く。その見るという行為そのものが次の不幸の種をまいていることにどうか気づいてください。見るべきは現実ではありません。あなたの命の奥底に眠る無限の英知、宇宙と直結した超意識です。今、この瞬間から視線を強制的に変える覚悟はできていますか？その覚悟がある方だけがこの先のお話をお聞きください。皆様の中には今何らかの深いお悩みを抱えておられる方もいらっしゃることでしょう。年齢とともに自由が利かなくなる肉体のこと、減りゆく蓄えへの不安、思うようにならないご家族との関係、あるいは何とはなしに胸に広がる夕暮れのような寂しさ、そういった嫌な現実が朝目覚めた瞬間から夜床につくまで頭の中に居座り続けてはいませんか？そして真面目な皆様のことですから交互自分に言い聞かせておられるのではないでしょうか。現実は現実だ。無視してどうなる。しっかりと直視して対策を練らなければもっと悪いことになるとあえて断言させていただきます。その真面目な直視こそが全ての諸悪の根源なのであります。世の中の多くの方々はあまりにも現象というものに振り回されすぎています。五感で感じるもの、目で見て耳で聞いて肌で感じる出来事を絶対的な真実だと思い込んでしまっています。しかし私が長年の波乱万丈な人生と数多の人間観察の中で確信いたしましたことは、人生において勝利する人間、真の健康を勝ち取る人間、運勢を切り開く人間というのは例外なく自分にとって都合の悪い現実に対して驚くほど鈍感であるということです。彼らは現実を見ていないのではありません。現実というものが自分の心の影に過ぎないことを魂のレベルで知っているのです。影に向かってどれほど剣を振り回しても影は消えません。影を消したければ光の向きを変えればよいのです。それだけのことでございます。今日私が皆様に伝授いたしますのはその心の光の向きを意志の力で強制的に変える技術であります。どうか一言一句聞き漏らさぬよう心を開いてお聞きください。まず人間の心というものの恐ろしいまでの性質を深く理解していただく必要があります。皆様の心はご自身が意識するとしないとにかかわらず常に何かを思い思考のエネルギーを放射しております。そしてこの大宇宙には厳然たる法則が存在します。それは思考は現実化するというあまりにも使い古されたしかしながら絶対的な鉄則であります。ですが多くの人はこの法則の本当の怖さをまだ十分に理解しておられません。単に良いことを思えば良いことが起きるなどという生温かいお話ではないのです。例えばあなたが体が痛い、また病気かとふと思った瞬間、皆様の神経系統は即座にその思考に反応し、実際に体内の免疫機能を低下させ、病を長引かせる物質をご自身の体中にばらまいてしまうのです。あるいは、お金がない、老後はどうしようと通帳を見つめてため息をついた瞬間、皆様の潜在意識は貧しい状態を維持するための行動を無意識のうちに選択し始め、豊かになるためのアイデアやチャンスを皆様の目に入らないようにシャットアウトしてしまうのです。つまり、皆様が嫌な現実を見つめ、それについて悩み、感情を動かすということは、その嫌な現実に、皆様ご自身の大切な生命エネルギーという栄養を与え、肥料をやり、大切に育てているのと同じことなのです。私がこれまでお会いしてきた運の悪い方というのは、皆様、残念ながらこの罠にかかっておられました。先生、私はこんなに苦労しているのですと、ご自分の不幸をまるで勲章のように語るのです。病気の方が集まれば、互いの病状の重さを競い合うかのように報告し合う。彼らは気づいていないのです。ご自身が発するその言葉、その嘆き、その注目が、さらに強力な磁石となって、次の不幸を引き寄せていることに。ですから、 ここで第一の原則を申し上げます。嫌な現実は、徹底的に無視してください。これは決して逃避ではありません。戦略的な撤退であり、より高次元への飛躍なのです。道を歩いていて、野良犬に吠えつかれたとき、いちいちその犬に向かって吠え返す人間がおりましょうか。そんなことをすれば、噛みつかれるだけでございます。堂々と無視して通り過ぎるのが、賢明な人間の振る舞いです。人生のトラブルも、これと全く同じでございます。お体の具合が悪いとき、痛いのはわかります。苦しいのも十分にわかります。ですが、心までその痛みに同調させてはいけません。痛いと感じるのは感覚神経の働きです。ですが、ああ、辛い。私はもうダメだ。このまま死ぬのではないかと考えるのは、皆様の思考です。感覚と思考を、意志の力で切り離すのです。肉体が痛みを訴えても、心の中ではだからどうした。私の命の炎は、これしきのことで消えはしないと、王者のように悠然と構えるのです。これが無視の正体であります。そもそも現実とは、過去の思考の残骸に過ぎません。今、皆様の目の前にある問題も、病気も、人間関係のもつれも、すべては過去の皆様が、あるいは過去の周囲の人々が発した思考エネルギーが、時間をかけて物質化した結果です。言ってみれば、遠い昔に放たれた星の光を見ているようなものです。その星はもう爆発してなくなっているかもしれないのです。それなのに、その過去の残骸を見て、これから先の未来の自分を規定してどうなさるのですか。嫌な現実を見たとき、皆様がなさるべきことは、分析でも反省でもありません。即座に心のチャンネルを切り替えることです。テレビの番組がつまらなければ、リモコンでチャンネルを変えるでしょう。なぜご自分の人生ではそれをなさらないのですか。なぜ、不愉快なドラマを延々と見続け、涙を流し、腹を立てておられるのですか。では、チャンネルを変えて、どこを見るべきなのか。そこで登場するのが、本日の最も重要なテーマ、超意識でございます。人間の心には、大きく分けて3つの層がございます。一つは、普段皆様が物事を考えたり悩んだりしている実在意識。二つ目は、記憶の倉庫であり生命活動を司る潜在意識。そして三つ目、これこそが私が最も重要視する、宇宙の英知そのものと直結した領域。それが超意識です。この超意識こそが、奇跡の源泉であります。皆様がふと素晴らしいひらめきを得たとき、危機一髪で命拾いをしたとき、あるいは説明のつかない幸運に恵まれたとき、それはすべてこの超意識が働いた結果なのです。超意識は、無限の知恵と、無限の力を持っております。病を治す方法も、富を得る方法も、人間関係を円満にする方法も、すべてを知っているのです。しかし、ここからが極めて重要なお話です。この超意識は、皆様の心が肯定的で平穏でなければ、決してその扉を開かないのであります。心が心配、不安、恐怖、怒りといった消極的な感情で満たされているとき、実在意識と潜在意識の間にある弁が固く閉じられ、超意識からのインスピレーションは完全に遮断されてしまいます。つまり、皆様が嫌な現実を見て悩んでいるとき、皆様はご自身の手で、天から降りてくる救いの綱を断ち切っていることになるのです。これほどもったいないことがございましょうか。だからこそ、私は申し上げるのです。嫌な現実は無視しなさいと。それは、超意識への通路を開くための、絶対的な儀式なのであります。具体的なお話をいたしましょう。例えば、経済的な問題に直面したとします。借金がある。蓄えが減った。普通の方であれば、帳簿をにらみつけ、ため息をつき、どうやって暮らしていこうかと、頭が痛くなるほど考え込みます。そして夜も眠れなくなるでしょう。しかし、それではいけません。その重苦しい心の状態では、良い知恵など浮かぶはずがないのです。浮かぶのは誰かを犠牲にしてでもとかあの人のせいでこうなったといった、さらに皆様の運命をにこらせる思考だけです。真に賢明な方は、こうなさいます。まず、帳簿を閉じます。そして、その問題から意識を完全に切り離すのです。 嘘でもいいから笑うのです。鏡の前に立ち、ご自分の顔を見て、大声で笑ってみるのです。そして、空を見上げ、深く呼吸をし、こう断言するのです。私の命は宇宙とつながっている。必要なものはすべて与えられると。馬鹿げていると思われますか。そう思われる皆様の、その常識こそが、皆様を今の場所に縛り付けている鎖なのです。私が申し上げているのは、問題から目を背けて怠けなさいということではありません。心の中に、問題を持ち込むなということでございます。肉体を使って働くときは、誠心誠意、一生懸命働けばよいのです。ですが、心まで労働させてはいけません。心は常に、高貴な王座に座らせておくのです。嫌な出来事に遭遇したとき、即座に肛門を閉めるというのも一つの極意です。下腹にぐっと力を込め、肩の力を抜く。そして心の中でこれは私を試すための試験だ。だが、私はこんなものでは微動だにしないと宣言するのです。すると不思議なことに、感情の荒波がすっと引いていくのがお分かりになるでしょう。その静寂、その心の凪の状態こそが、超意識が舞い降りる滑走路となるのです。私がかつて出会った、真に成功した人物たちは、一様にこの切り替えの達人でございました。彼らの周りでトラブルが起きないわけではありません。むしろ、普通の方よりもはるかに大きなトラブルに見舞われております。ですが、彼らはそれを悩みとして認識していないのです。現象として淡々と処理し、心の中では次の理想のビジョンを描いているのです。ある実業家が、ご自身の工場が全焼したという知らせを受けたとき、彼は顔色一つ変えずにこうおっしゃいました。そうか、これで新しい、もっと性能の良い工場が建てられるなと。彼は強がりをおっしゃったのではありません。本気でそう思い、その瞬間に未来の繁栄する工場の姿を超意識に強く焼き付けたのです。結果、彼は以前よりもはるかに大きな成功を収めました。もし彼があの時、終わった、挟んだと嘆き悲しんでいたら、間違いなく破滅していたことでしょう。これが現実を無視し、超意識を見るということの実践でございます。皆様の中には、ご年齢を気にして、人生を諦めてしまっている方もいらっしゃるかもしれません。もう50だ、60だ、70だ。今更人生を変えるなんて無理だと。なんと嘆かわしいお言葉でしょうか。年齢など、地球が太陽の周りを何回回ったかという、ただの記号に過ぎません。皆様の命に年齢はございません。皆様の超意識に老化などないのです。私が知る限り、人生の黄金期は、肉体の若さではなく、心の若さ、つまり心の積極性によって決まります。70代、80代になっても、子供のような好奇心と、揺るぎない信念を持って生きておられる方は、若者よりもはるかに生命力にあふれ、運を引き寄せておられます。逆に、たとえ20代であっても、世の中を斜めに見て、不平不満ばかり言っている人間は、魂が老いぼれているのです。鏡を見るのはおやめなさい。シワを数えるのはおやめなさい。白髪を気にするのはおやめなさい。それを見るいとまがございましたら、ご自分の心の奥にある情熱の火をご覧なさい。自分はまだ何かできる、誰かの役に立てる今日という日は、新しい人生の第一歩だと、心に火をつけるのです。その火が燃え上がったとき、超意識は必ず答えてくれます。思いもよらない新しい道、新しい出会い、新しい生きがいを用意してくれるのです。健康についても全く同じことが言えます。お医者様に何か言われたからといって、しょげ返ってはなりません。診断名は、あくまで今の状態を表す言葉であって、未来の予言ではないのです。皆様が私は病気だと毎日念仏のように唱えれば、お体はその通りに崩れていきます。ですが、痛みがあっても、不調があっても、あえてそれを無視し、私の命の本質は健康そのものである宇宙のエネルギーが私を満たしている、と、強気に、朗らかに振る舞えば、細胞は必ずよみがえります。人間の体には、本来、自然治癒力という凄まじい力が備わっております。その力を阻害しているのが、他ならぬ皆様の心配であり悲観なのです。 病は気からという言葉がございますが、あれは単なる精神論ではありません。科学的な事実です。気が病めば、体も病む。気が元気になれば、体も元気になる。単純明快な真理でございます。ですから、たとえ病床にあっても、心までは寝込ませてはいけません。心は常に、青空の下を駆け回らせておくのです。さて、ここまでの話をお聞きになって、皆様はこう思われるかもしれません。先生、理屈はわかります。でも、どうしても嫌なことが頭から離れないのですと。それはごもっともです。皆様は何十年もの間、消極的思考の癖をつけてこられたのですから、昨日今日で完全に変われるほど、心の癖は甘くはありません。だからこそ、訓練が必要なのです。毎晩、寝る前の時間を何よりも大切になさってください。多くの人は、お布団に入ってから、その日あった嫌なことを反省会のように思い出し、眉間にシワを寄せて眠りにつかれます。これは、ご自分の命に対する冒涜であります。寝入り花というのは、潜在意識の扉が全開になる、一日の中で最も重要な時間帯です。その時にネガティブな思考を流し込むのは、澄んだ井戸に毒を投げ込むようなものです。お休みになる前は、絶対に嫌なことを考えてはいけません。もし浮かんできたら、消え失せなさい。と一括して追い出すのです。そして、楽しかったこと、嬉しかったこと、あるいは理想のご自身の姿だけを思い浮かべるのです。ああ、今日もご飯が美味しかった、空が綺麗だった、私はなんて運がいいのだろう。そうつぶやきながら、穏やかに微笑んで眠りにつくのです。これを毎日続けるだけで、皆様の潜在意識は劇的に浄化され、やがて超意識とのパイプが太く、強固になってまいります。朝起きた時も同様です。目が覚めた瞬間、ああ、また仕事か体がだるいなどと思ってはいけません。目が覚めたら、まずがバッと起き上がり、窓を開けて太陽の光を浴びてください。そしてさあ、素晴らしい一日の始まりだ。今日こそ最高の日になる。と、ご自分に高らかに宣言するのです。気分が乗らなくても構いません。形から入るのです。言葉には言霊という力がございます。力強い言葉を発すれば、心は後からついてくるものなのです。皆様は、ご自分の人生の脚本家であり、主演俳優であり、監督でございます。今までの脚本が気に入らなければ、今この瞬間から書き直せばよいのです。悲劇の主人公を演じるのはもうおしまいにしましょう。これからは堂々たる勝利者幸福な賢者を演じるのです。誰かが悪口を言いましたか？聞こえないふりをなさい。失敗をなさいましたか？次の成功の糧だと笑い飛ばしなさい。将来が不安ですか？今を全力で生きれば、未来は光り輝くと信じきるのです。この図太さこそが、現代人に最も欠けている徳目であり、最強の武器であります。繊細であることは、芸術家には必要かもしれませんが、幸福に生きるためには、ある種の鈍感力が必要です。些細なことに動じない、どっしりとした心、嵐が来ても、水面下では静まり返っている海のような心、それを目指すのです。皆様の命は、ちっぽけな肉体の中に閉じ込められたものではありません。宇宙大に広がっております。皆様の背後には、宇宙霊という無限のエネルギーが控えているのです。コンセントがプラグにつながっていれば、電気製品は動きます。皆様が、心のプラグを超意識というコンセントにしっかりとつなぎさえすれば、枯渇することのないエネルギーが流れ込んでくるのです。その接続を邪魔するもの、それが迷いであり恐れであり取り越し苦労です。これらは心の錆です。錆を落としてください。ピカピカに磨き上げるのです。人生は、心一つの置きどころ。地獄を作るのも心、極楽を作るのも心でございます。同じ世界に住んでいても、不平不満の眼鏡をかけていれば、世界は灰色に見えます。感謝と喜びの眼鏡をかけていれば、世界は黄金色に輝いて見えます。現実は変えられないかもしれませんが、現実に対する解釈と態度は皆様の自由です。そして、その態度が変われば、不思議なことに、やがて現実そのものが変わり始めるのです。嫌な人間が去っていき、素晴らしいお仲間が集まってくる。 仕事のトラブルが解決し、新たな道が開ける。体調が良くなり、活力が泉のように湧いてくる。これは魔法ではありません。心の法則に従った当然の帰結なのです。さあ、覚悟をお決めください。もう二度とご自分を卑下してはなりません。もう二度と運命を呪ってはなりません。もう二度とつまらない現実に一喜一憂してはなりません。皆様はもっと高く飛べるのです。もっと強く生きられるのです。もっと幸せになれるのです。その資格が生まれた時から皆様にはあるのです。その尊い権利を決して放棄しないでください。今日から、今この瞬間から、皆様は心の王におなりなさい。外の世界で何が起きようとも、心の城壁の中には、一歩も敵を入れてはなりません。城の中では、常に宴を開くのです。喜びの歌を歌うのです。希望の火を灯すのです。そうすれば、外の世界の闇は、皆様の心の光に照らされて、やがて跡形もなく消え去っていくことでしょう。私が申し上げたいことは、究極的には極めてシンプルでございます。明るくあれ、ただそれだけでございます。どんな時も、何があっても、絶対に明るさを失ってはなりません。暗い顔をして、深刻ぶって生きるには、人生はあまりにも短く、あまりにも貴重です。眉間のシワを伸ばしてください。口角を上げてください。そして、世界に向かって、高らかに宣言なさってください。私は、力だ。私は、勇気だ。私は、健康だ。私は、運命の覇者だ。と、さあ、丘を上げてください。地面を見るのではなく、天を見るのです。泥を見るのではなく、星を見るのです。皆様の行く手には、限りない可能性が広がっております。そのことを信じ、そのことだけを見つめ、堂々と歩き出してください。皆様の人生の春は、まさにこれから始まるのですから、信じるのです。ご自分の力を、宇宙の力を、そして、何よりも、皆様ご自身の命の尊さを、私の言葉が、皆様の魂の導火線に火をつけることを、心より願っております。さあ、参りましょう。振り返らず、前だけを見て、力強く進もうではありませんか。最後に、これだけは魂に刻み込んでお帰りください。皆様の人生における唯一の義務、それは機嫌よく生きることでございます。嫌な現実を無視するということは、無責任になることではありません。ご自分の心の状態に対して、最大の責任を持つということでございます。今日から、嫌なことがございましたら、それがどうした、とわらの底から笑い飛ばしてみてください。不安が襲ってきたら、私のバックには宇宙がついている。と胸を張ってください。皆様が心の向きを超意識という太陽に向けた瞬間、人生のすべての影は、皆様の背後に落ちるようになります。理屈をこねてはいけません。今日から、今から、ただひたすらに、正直なまでに、明るい方、強い方、尊い方だけを向いて生きてください。それが、偉大なる運命を開く、唯一にして最強の鍵でございます。皆様になら、必ずできます。私が保証いたします。さあ、新しい人生の幕開けです。堂々とお生きなさい。
Sometimes people say to us, or think it, we get it, we hear you anyway, and it goes like this: Abraham, you're making us schizophrenic. Because in 1 minute, you tell us to be a deliberate creator, set goals, think about what you want, segment attend, be deliberate. And in the next minute, you say, let it go, chill, be in a state of allowing. What do you want us to do? And we say, we want you to know the moment you're in. We want you to know if this is the time to turn up the juice or if this is the time to turn the juice down. We want you to know if you don't feel good, don't keep focusing on what doesn't feel good. If you do feel good, do keep focusing on what does feel good. Doesn't that make sense to you? Don't you know by the way you feel? Haven't you watched enough movies to know that when it starts going bad, it's going to get real bad? You've been rooting for the bad guy because you liked him best anyway. he seemed free and he was cute and he had the best lines, and so you were really rooting for him. And then he got himself in a box canyon, and you know it's not going to end well. He's going to either have to drive off the cliff, Thelma and Louise, or the Sundance Kid. He's going to, if you've seen all of those, you're really rooting, you want them to get away, but you know their point of attraction is such, there's no way out of this. It doesn't get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and then stunningly, shockingly better. It goes the way it's trending. Everything goes the way it's trending. You just want to get the trend going better earlier if you can, and it doesn't matter how badly it seems to be trending. If you take a beat, take a breath, take a nap, take a swim, spend a little bit of time in meditation, change the subject, distract yourself, you can change the way something trends much more easily than you realize. And then, once you can feel that it is feeling better, then focus. We really want you to hear this. It will make you more likely to give yourself a break. What your point of attraction is in any moment in time just is. It is. It doesn't matter how you gathered those marbles up or when you gathered those marbles up. The only thing that matters is that you've got this point of attraction, which is demonstrating to you what it means. It's bringing to you these relationships. It's bringing to you these memories. It's bringing to you these experiences. It's bringing to you this. And so once you accept that you have this point of attraction and that you can, maybe not right now, this red hot minute, because momentum is a real thing, but you can change what your point of attraction is to mimic more of what you want, so you do it gradually, and then you deliberately segment intend, or you deliberately do a focus wheel, or you deliberately put some marbles in your bag, and then you notice what comes in response to that. As you collect those dots, now you've got it. Now you've got it. So here you are, living your life, and a whole bunch of other people are too. And if you're reacting to each other or wanting to elicit responses from each other, oh, you've got such a chaotic, mixed bag of what you're getting. But once you've figured it out, who you are, extension of source energy, who you are, seen and known and understood and adored by source energy, who you are, a creator who has explored and decided and put stuff in this vibrational reality, and just like the seed in the ground, it is in the process of becoming. And if you can be an advocate for what you are asking for rather than a commentator on what you've got so far, oh, it's what getting out ahead of it is. It's what looking forward is. It's what staying out of your own way is. It's what the true value of focus is. So what we're asking you to focus is not your thought or your energy or your vibration or these things that you really need a meter to even understand. We're asking you to focus your emotion. We're asking you to focus the way you feel to something that feels good as often as you can. Just the best that you can feel right now. And if taking a nap's the best that you can feel, do it. Whatever it is, do it. Follow that thing that feels the best. Feels counterintuitive to a lot of you because you've been trained. You've got a lot of marbles in your bag. There is no gain without pain. If it doesn't hurt, you're not making any progress. Who made you the creator of your own reality? The world does not revolve around you. So many things, so many bogus, flawed premises have been fed to you by people who didn't know, who thought they needed to control your behavior so that they could feel good. And you became an enabler to help them to try to control their experiences. But isn't this true? First chance you got, when you got off away from them, did you do what you knew they wanted you to do, or did you do what you wanted to do? Depends on how conditioned you became, how much you calibrated to their idea of who you should be, and how much you're calibrating to Source's idea or knowledge of who you are. Oh, that was good. I wonder what my inner being thinks about this. You're only powerless because you're depriving yourself of it. Wonder how my inner being feels about this. And you know for sure, if you feel defeated, your inner being feels the opposite. If you're blaming someone, your inner being is feeling love. If you feel deprived, your inner being is feeling your abundance. Because it's two ends of the stick. That's why this calibration should not be a difficult thing to do. But it takes some explaining to so many who have been conditioned to believe that you are not good, that you are not perfect, that you are not creator, that you are not blessed. How many times do humans hear that you were born sinners? Really? Who makes this stuff up? Someone who needs you to behave differently for their benefit. Self-interest is a real thing. Self-interest is a real thing. And if we can convince you that your greatest self-interest is to be yourself, to be the lover that you are born to be, to live the prosperity that you were born to live, and the clarity and the vitality and the flexibility and the fun. And once you start calibrating to that, it doesn't take very much of you deliberately focusing and affecting your point of attraction and then seeing the results of it before you can come to the conclusion that you are blessed. And here's why we are so sure of this. Most people offer most of their output, their focus, vibration, energy, whatever you want to call that. They offer most of it as a result of what they are observing. So doesn't it follow that if you can deliberately drop some marbles in your bag so that you are deliberately activating your point of attraction, and then you get to witness what the law of attraction does in response to that? Now, isn't that habit of observation going to serve you? That's why the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. But you got to start out there with some real point of understanding your own guidance system. And that's really what your guidance system is doing all the time. Your inner being is not saying, oh, no. We've been telling you and you haven't been listening, and so now you're on your own. Your inner being never says, you have to live with the consequences of your foolishness. Your inner being never, ever stops giving you the information that matches who you really are and what you're most asking for. The other day, Esther was talking to someone on the phone who is in the middle of some strong negative attraction. And Esther was saying, it's okay. Sometimes it's just like that. Don't beat up on yourself. Just don't keep telling these stories to people, because that's just perpetuating it. And then it went on a little while longer, and Esther sort of found herself being repetitive. And she said, it must just feel terrible to have somebody talking to you when you feel so engulfed in something so big, and somebody else is trying to make it light and fluffy and like it doesn't really matter. But I really am just trying to make it light and fluffy like it doesn't really matter. But I know you can't hear it. When you're in a position where you can't hear it, don't be mad at yourself because you can't hear it. Say things to yourself like, law of attraction is the real deal. And I've got some momentum going here. And I worked hard for this momentum. And I'm not making this stuff up. And I don't want that. In other words, we're not asking you to not face reality. We're asking you to choose a reality that you prefer. And you cannot choose a reality that you prefer while you're defending the reality that you've got that you don't like. You've got to do something different. And talking to other people, when you're in a jam and you talk to other people, Esther remembers not too long after Jerry made his transition, and Esther went to Australia with a very small crew to do a seminar for Hay House. And Esther thought, ooh, wouldn't it be fun if we did a helicopter ride? Because Esther had done it before. So she spent some time online looking for the best helicopter and the longest ride that went the most places. And it cost the most money, way the most money. But Esther knew what she wanted, and so she booked it. So they got over there, and they got in the helicopter, and off they went, and they had headphones on so that they could hear each other, and they could hear what the pilot was saying, and they could hear what was being said from outside to the pilot. And it was just way fun. And Esther knew this was to be a 90-minute ride. And it was so going to be worth it because that 90 minutes would take them to that place that Esther really wanted them to see. And then she had the feeling that the helicopter was turning around in the sky, a great big. And Esther said, "Are we going back?" No answer. "Why have we turned around?" No answer. "Are we at the halfway point?" No answer. And Esther thought, I know you can hear me because I can hear you and everybody else. I can hear you. So he took them back and landed 20 minutes shy of what Esther's expectations were. Now, everybody that had been with her had the time of their life. They loved what they saw. They loved how fun it was. It was the nicest helicopter Esther had ever been in. It was the most wonderful experience for all of them. Not for Esther. Not for Esther. And here's the part that we really wanted you to hear. Esther was mad at her friends that didn't defend her. Why are you being so bright and shiny when we have been robbed of 20 minutes of pleasure? Don't you understand that something has gone terribly wrong here? Esther just couldn't let it go. Just kept dropping little things. Not one of them picked it up. Not one of them. It's like they've been listening to Abraham. And like Esther hadn't been. And so we know you feel the way you feel about things. In other words, Esther's justification was, well, I'm more invested. And it was my thousands of dollars that were spent. And it was me that spent the afternoon choosing this. Her expectation was stronger for what she wanted. So her disappointment was stronger when it didn't happen. But that's the thing that you have to figure out how to let go of. If you are justifying your disappointments, even when you're right, Esther was so right. That was so wrong. And that guy, that rat bastard guy, he did not offer one word of explanation because he knew he didn't have any legitimate explanation. There wasn't a hurricane coming. He had a full tank of whatever it is. He just saw all he wanted to see and he wanted to go home. At least that's what Esther decided it was. You get what we're talking about here? So here's the thing. You can't be the stage manager or the law of attraction manager. But what you can do is you can stand in your power and you can put easy existing matches into your bag of marbles. This is the bottom line of what you're all reaching for. You can, by understanding and focusing, you can clarify your bag of marbles, harmonize it with the power that is really you. You cannot get it wrong, and you never get it done. And the reason you can't get it wrong is because you never get it done. And now, don't you just want to go out and put deliberate marbles in your bag and see what happens? Not to control others, but to control your point of attraction so that the universe can demonstrate to you how blessed you are, how seen you are, how powerful you are? Yeah. Really good conversation. We would like to proclaim this as the best conversation we've ever had. The best conversation we've ever had. How are you? When you're up and down and up and down and up and down, that just means you're that means you're really sloppy in your focus. It means that you're letting whatever's around get your attention. So you're practicing a lot of vibrations. And because you are practicing a lot of vibrations of wanted and unwanted, you have active within you a lot of different vibrations on a lot of different subjects. And so anytime you have an active vibration, then your point of attraction includes that active vibration. So you get some of that, and 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 that, and that, and that, and that. But as you get better and better at caring about how you feel and reaching for more and more thoughts that feel better and better to you, it's what we call deliberate creation. Deliberately focusing rather than focusing by default. Deliberately focusing on more and more things that feel better. so that you're practicing that vibration that feels good longer, steadier, so that the vibration within you does not have such a broad range. Now, law of attraction brings you the contrast within that range. Ooh, don't you like knowing that? Law of attraction is always bringing you the contrast within the range that you've been practicing. So what have you been practicing? Well, the best way to ask yourself that is, how have you been feeling? Pretty good. Well, then your range is that. Sometimes people say, well, if I could just get more of the things I want, I would feel better. You compare yourself to others. You see many others who are feeling really good, and you say, well, of course they feel good. Look at how they live. Look at how they look. Look at who they live with. Of course they feel better. They have all of the things that I want. So it's easy for them to feel good with all of that money and all of that good stuff surrounding them. And we say, we get how when you see someone living something that you want to live that you aren't living, that you would feel uncomfortable because you're looking at the opposite of what you want. You're looking at the lack of what you want. But we want you to understand that it does not matter where you stand. You can today begin cleaning up your vibration. You can today begin feeling a little better. And as you feel a little better, that's your indicator that you are cleaning up your vibration. And by that we mean you're not introducing so many of the I know what I don't wants to the equation. It's more, I like that, I prefer that. We want you to remember that you are vibrational beings. It's hard to remember that because you're so tangible, you're so physical, you're so flesh, blood, and bony. We know. You are physical and you live in a physical world, and so you are accustomed to seeing the things that are physical in nature and calling it your reality. And we call it your reality too, but there is a vibrational reality that is at the basis of all of the tangible, manifested, realized reality. And that reality is the reality that we want you to begin to give your attention to. Because if you can get out ahead of the manifestation by focusing upon the vibration that is the precursor to all manifestation, now, not only will you have a more joyful romp through life experience, but you will have more deliberate control of what does manifest. Now, we're really not too excited about helping you control your manifestations in the sense that we really don't want you to measure them and catalog them and pigeonhole them and try to understand your world from the framework of the manifestations. It's what almost everybody you know is doing. You're comparing your stuff to each other. And while that is certainly a natural process, it slows you way, 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 way down. If you were making one comparison and one comparison only, and that is the vivid all day, really easy to discern comparison between what your vibrational frequency is right now, this red hot minute, given the attention that you're given to whatever you're giving your attention to. Follow that? Whatever you're looking at is causing you to offer a vibration. And the source within you, that's where we come in, is looking at the same thing right now from our perspective or our opinion. And so, Source has an opinion about what you have an opinion about. And if the opinion that Source has about what you have the opinion about meshes, matches, merges, harmonizes, if it's the same, in other words, if you're looking at somebody and you're loving them, your opinion matches. But if you're looking at someone and you're not loving them, not so much, well, Abraham, you should have seen what they did. If you're looking at someone and you're feeling something less than love, you see, you don't walk around feeling less than love. You walk around thinking thoughts that give you the feeling of less than love. You don't think, I'm going to not love you. You think, I don't like what you just did. Or I don't like what you just said. You focus negatively in an attitude of trying to push away from you something unwanted. And when you do that, you do something different than the source within you is doing right here, right now, about the same subject. And so the feeling of, I don't love you, the feeling of absence of love is the feeling you get when you diverge, when you depart, when you contradict the opinion that the larger part of you holds. Now, how does that settle with you? Does it make you feel funny that there's someone with such an opinion about what you've got going on. We are the product of what you've been synthesizing. We are the sum total of all that you've lived. We stand as the vibrational equivalent of what you've come to. So you cannot separate yourself from us, but you can introduce enough resistance between that which is you and that which is us that you can make yourself feel bad. And then you blame it on everything else. You blame it on that guy. You blame it on that other thing that happened. You blame it on some circumstance or some event. And we want you instead to take credit for every emotion that you feel, because every emotion that you feel is the simple byproduct or indicator of your frequency as it relates to the total frequency of who you are. So when we are talking about that relationship between you and you, we're talking about the vibrational relationship between you as you stand right now, given the opinion that you hold, and you that has become the vibrational equivalent of that which is us. You that is already living the dreams that you've dreamed. You that is already spending the money that you've gathered. You that is already knowing the things that you want to know. Because you can't ask a question about something that you want to know without sending out the rocket of the knowledge of it. In the moment you ask the question, we know the answer. That's how this powerful law of attraction universe works. And do you know why? In the moment that you pose the question, or live in the problem, that we know the answer or the solution. Do you understand why the solution is instantaneous for us? Because when that rocket goes off and there is no resistance, the solution must be instantaneous. You could do that too if you weren't so hung up on explaining the problem. You get so invested in your problems because most of you view the world in an action-oriented way, and you think that there is someone, it was like your mother and father at first, someone who holds the answers, but you have to get in line. In other words, it's like your mother says to you, do you think you are the center of the universe? I have more important things to think about today than that. But the universe never says that to you. The universe says, when you ask, it is given. And the only question that we want to ask you is, where are you in relationship to the answer that has been given? We like your desire to feel fresh. We like you to feel eager about it. We like you to know that the creation of a button or a castle is equal in this vibrational universe in which we are all living. It's just a matter of focus. So when you get it that you are the focuser of your reality into beingness, and that part of that focus is choice, and part of that choice is contrast or variety. When you come to realize that just like when you are at your food buffet, where no one, not lately anyway, is forcing things onto your plate. No one is making you choose specific things. You're just choosing because life has shown you what you prefer. And so that is the way we see this contrast that you're, started to say engulfed in, but that sounds like it's a little bit oppressive. And sometimes you feel oppressed by the variety. But the better you get at focusing, the less oppressive the variety will feel. Because you can focus your variety into piles of really delightful, sort of delightful, and only delightful. In other words, you do not have to run the gamut of horrible to wonderful. Your choices will clarify the more you focus in the direction of what is wanted. So if you have a broad range of contrast, we haven't talked to you about this before, not in this way. If you have a really broad range of contrast, like things are going really good and then things are going really bad, or you are feeling really wonderful and then you are feeling really awful, your doctors want to call that something that we won't give a label to. Are you appreciating the contrast that helps you to focus your desire into being? That's the most significant question, and we are sad that you lied just now, but we are never sad. But you did lie. But that is a very good goal for you, to come to the place where you are enjoying the variety for the choices that it helps to formulate within you. It's a really good thing when you realize that you are the creator of your own reality, and that the reality that you are creating is born within you first, the first step of it, in variety or contrast. The word variety sounds better to you than the word contrast, doesn't it? Variety, a plethora of delightful things from which I can choose. But contrast is also that plethora of delightful things from which you can choose. Because you would not know what you wanted if you did not know what you do not want. It really is that simple. You just don't need to get so carried away in the holding yourself apart from it that your desire moves into that stronger place of fretful yearning. You feel fresh, new, burgeoning desire. When desire feels like that, you know you are on the path, don't you? Because when what you want feels good to you, even before it has been realized by you, even before it is actualized in your experience, then you know that you are on the wavelength that not only will bring you what you are wanting, it must, because law of attraction says it is so, but you're having a good time now, not waiting for the manifestation before the good times roll, yeah? And if you are in that place where you are needing something to manifest before you feel hopeful or optimistic or eager, it really slows things down, doesn't it? And yet, you are. We love you very much. Hooked on manifestation, aren't you? You like that tangible, lickable, seeable, hearable. You like that stuff. And we like you to like it because, after all, you are in these magnificent bodies. You are out here on the leading edge. You are bringing all that we all are forward into the newest manifestations. And the manifestations are the leading most part of creation. They are. You're not here proving some sort of worthiness in order to go sit on a cloud with us later. We don't sit on clouds, by the way. We romp with you through the woods. We sail with you on your boats and fly with you on your planes and walk with you on your paths and eat your meals with you. We sing your songs with you and paint your paintings with you and write your books with you and read your books with you. We play with your dogs and theirs. A lot of dogs here. A lot of dogs here.